Welcome everyone to the Malvern Retreat House. On Saturday, we always air a short video talking about life and faith and things happening here at the Malvern Retreat House. Usually, I'm interviewing people on staff, but LaSalle High School is having a Kairos retreat, and it ends today, so I grabbed two people from the Kairos retreat. So why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Kevork Zaybari. I'm a senior at LaSalle and I'm a leader on the retreat.
Great, and?
Lou Clark, I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry.
Great, thanks for being here, Lou. Thanks for being here, couple. Just a couple of things to share with you who might be watching this. The first is we have mid-May this weekend for their retreat. It was scheduled in May, obviously it was canceled, but we're having it this weekend. And also this coming week, we're going to be hosting the League of the Sacred Heart. And the League of the Sacred Heart is a traditional weekend retreat that's held in the middle of the week because it's for the police and fire officers from the city of Philadelphia. So it was always hard to get off on a weekend for them, and so it's always midweek. And then the last thing is we are making videos for those who make retreats here and for the captains and their leadership team. So those training videos will be available next week on the website. So we just ask you, whether you're a captain, a recruiter, part of the leadership team, or a retreatant, to look at those videos so that you'll be better prepared for the weekend retreat, especially the changes we had to make because of COVID-19. Okay, I don't know who wants to go first, but we'll pick on you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like I said, I'm a senior at LaSalle College High School. I'm part of student council there, student ambassadors, lab managers, and I'm a Kairos leader. So I'm pretty involved with the Kairos retreat. I went on my own Kairos retreat late summer, and now I'm here leading this one.
Oh, you only made your retreat this past summer?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. And okay, you're a senior at LaSalle. Any ideas where you want to go to school?
Not quite yet. My top two are Case Western Reserve University and the Shires Honors College at Penn State, but I'm still looking at a bunch of options.
Yeah, and what would you like to study?
I'd like to study biomedical engineering.
Biomedical engineering, amen. Good. Okay, yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a graduate of LaSalle University, and I've been teaching, I taught 3 years at Archbishop Ryan in the Northeast.
Oh, before we go any further, let me just make fun. People sometimes don't know who's the student and who's the faculty member. Anyway, student and faculty member. Go for it.
So I taught at Archbishop Ryan for 3 years, then I moved on to LaSalle High School, and I've been there for about 19 years. I live in Ambler with my wife and son, and it's just been a blast over these 19 years at LaSalle, getting to work with our young men and working on the LaSallian mission.
Yeah. So what's your position at LaSalle, and what kind of work do you do?
Sure. I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry, and our area is responsible for LaSallian formation, our liturgies, prayer services, and our service programs.
Oh, great. So you head up all of them. You coordinate all of them.
Myself and we have a team. So there are 3 other members of the Mission and Ministry team, as well as rely on our faculty and staff and amazing leaders like Kevork, student leaders.
I was just going to ask something. Oh, how's LaSalle doing? Tell us a little bit about LaSalle College High School.
We're doing really well. We have enrollment of over 1,000. And of course, these are very unprecedented times, but our administration is very committed to, very strict COVID-19 protocols and putting the safety and security of our students at the forefront, while also providing, a LaSallian education.
Yeah, amen. So married and you have a little son. How old is your son?
He's 6 years old.
6 years old.
Yes, he's a student at Our Lady of Mercy grade school.
Great. Kevork, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
My family, I live in Ambler, St. Mr. Clark. I have 2 younger brothers, one of which is at LaSalle right now, and the other one goes to the Armenian Sisters Academy.
Oh, sure, we were talking about that earlier.
And he's hoping to go to LaSalle too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And your family originally was from Armenia?
Yes, my grandparents moved over from Europe, but my great-grandparents were originally from Armenia.
And they left during the persecution and during the genocide?
Yes.
And you said they wandered around Europe before your grandparents came to the United States?
Correct.
Yeah, great. Every institution is following all types of protocols because of COVID-19. And that means, the retreat house here. How did both of you find the protocols and the requirements that we have in place regarding the whole COVID-19 pandemic? Kabor, do you want to go first?
I think they were no different than any other place that takes it seriously. I mean, and it's important, obviously, to keep wearing masks, social distancing. I think it was made very clear that that's what was going to happen on this retreat, and that's what did happen. And I think it really mitigated a lot of risk, which is great. And it didn't have any bearing on the retreat at all.
So it had no adverse effect on the retreat?
No adverse effects.
Oh, great. And Lo?
I would agree. I think that the protocols that are in place here are the protocols that our students are used to every day at LaSalle.
Mm-hmm.
So, the temperature check prior to the retreat, and the social distancing, the masks, going into the dining hall with 4 seats instead of a full, dining
Full table, sure.
Mm-hmm. The seats in the meeting rooms, spaced 6 feet apart. It was very good. Everyone had their own room, so we didn't have to worry about anything on that nature. But the best thing I would say is just the space here.
Oh.
We really adapted to the times of COVID-19 and leveraged what you have to offer here at Malvern.
Mm-hmm.
So things that we normally did inside, we said, do them outside.
Yeah.
The weather's great, so many of our small group sessions took place outside.
Oh, good.
And they were able to just sit 6 feet apart and able to share. I'm sure many on a retreat have done in the past, which we haven't, was we took advantage of an Emmaus walk, where we broke the students down to 3 in a group with an adult or student leader and just said, take a walk around the campus and talk about life and talk about the retreat and what you learned about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We found that great to use what you have here.
Yeah. What are some of the other retreat houses that LaSalle has used for Kairos retreats?
Which ones have we used?
Yeah.
We used St. Francis Retreat House.
That's up in Easton.
Yes, it's a great facility as well. And we've used, it's a non-Catholic retreat house, America's Keswick in New Jersey.
Great. And you made a retreat this past summer, and you're a leader on this retreat.
Correct.
So the Malvern Retreat House hosts a lot of Kairos retreats. So, most of the people who are probably watching this make what we call our traditional weekend retreat, the men and women of Malvern. So it's retreats usually on the weekends for men, for women, for couples, for families. And probably some have heard about the Kairos retreat, but probably don't know a whole lot about it. So why don't you share with, our community what the Kairos retreat is?
Sure. Well, the word Kairos means God's time.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a time for our young men to reflect on the importance of the relationships in their lives. The relationships with God, with self, and others. So it's really just an intensive 3-day experience in which they hear talks from adult and student leaders on various themes. They have opportunity to share with their classmates. They have opportunity for just silent reflection and writing. Obviously, the opportunity for liturgy each day to celebrate, and some prayer services in addition to that. But most of all, it's a time to experience God's love and God's friendship in their lives.
Yeah. So it's longer than our traditional weekend retreat. It's 4 days and 3 nights usually.
It typically is. Now, one of the things with COVID-19, we went to 3 full days.
Oh, I see.
So 1 less night, overnight. Just
yeah.
mitigate any potential risks.
Yeah, sure. And Kavor, why don't you talk about your first Kairos retreat this summer? What were you expecting going into the retreat? What happened on the retreat? What was it like? And then how has it affected your life?
Well, going into the retreat, I was a little apprehensive.
Yeah.
It was the first Kairos retreat after COVID. It was supposed to happen in March of last year, but it unfortunately got canceled due to the pandemic.
Yeah.
So this retreat, it was in late August. It was at school, and it wasn't overnight.
Oh.
So we went home every day.
Yeah.
I was a little apprehensive, not knowing what to expect, really, with all the different COVID regulations and all of that. I mean, I've heard people talk about it at school before.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing specific, but just like, oh, they've had a great time.
Sure.
So I was looking forward to it, but I was worried that the restrictions and the different things you wouldn't be able to do was going to kind of affect that. But once I got there,
Yeah,
I mean, instantly, I was all in. Like the first talk, super impactful,
yeah.
and I had a really, really positive experience.
Oh, good. How many kids made that retreat this past summer?
I think it was 25.
25. And then I always thought you were supposed to pick the good retreatants to be leaders on the next retreat, but
We picked the best.
oh, you picked the best, not just the good, the best. And so now you're a leader on this retreat. And how's this retreat going?
This retreat is fantastic.
Yeah,
It's amazing, quite honestly, to be able to see the retreat from the perspective of a leader.
yeah,
Because I had a student leader when I went in August, and I mean, it is a lot of work.
yeah, sure.
We do our absolute best to make sure that we give the retreatants the best retreat possible, but it's also very rewarding.
Yeah,
Being able to hear the retreatants open up and seeing their progression throughout the 3 days that we have here is quite fantastic.
yeah, yeah. And let's go a little deeper with the Kairos retreat. There's the students who are making it, then there's also students on the team, and then also faculty members.
Sure.
Yeah, and they all interact with one another, and there's talks and sharing in small groups and things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The adult and student leaders, they work very hard prior to the retreat, planning a talk and getting ready for it. And it's quite a commitment for the adults to leave their family and other responsibilities behind. But the school makes it a priority.
oh yeah. Okay, so that's a good point. How does the school, or how does a school make a retreat program a priority?
Well, I mean, it's
Because some high schools do, and other high schools they just don't. So like, how does LaSalle, how does a school make a retreat program a priority?
for our school, and I can't speak for the others, but I can
Right.
speak for ours.
Mm-hmm.
We make it a priority by having it during the week. So to say that it's so important that it's okay to miss school time.
Yeah.
Many do it over the weekends, which is great for those schools.
Mm-hmm.
But for our school, it's what we want to do, particularly our administration. So Brother James Butler, our school president, he goes on at least 2 Kairos retreats a year as an adult leader.
Oh, good for
And
him.
he comes up to every single one to visit as well,
Yeah.
to participate in one of the liturgies or to have a meal with us. Our principal, Mr. O'Toole, goes regularly, and so do many of the other administrators.
Yeah.
To me, I think that's a commitment.
That's impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a financial aspect, not to get into much, but they hire a sub to come in and cover the classes for teachers that are out on Kairos.
Oh.
So that takes the burden off of the departments.
Yeah.
Who typically would sub their own department members who are out.
Yes, yeah. Lou, it's funny you mentioned that. I taught high school for 8 years in 2 different Catholic high schools, and I was also the chaplain. And in both schools, we started Kairos. But when the faculty were out, we covered each other, and it just put a burden on everybody. That's really impressive that the school brings in subs to cover the responsibilities of the staff. Yeah. I'll ask you on a larger scale in a minute, but Kavor, what difference did the Kairos retreat make in your life? But I guess both making it personally and also leading now.
It 100% brought me back to God.
Oh yeah.
The pandemic was really rough. Not able to go to church. We watch Mass online, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I kind of really felt out of touch.
Oh,
And with everything else going on in the summer, not being able to see friends, I think going as a retreat, it definitely entered my life at the right time.
Oh, good.
When I most needed it.
Yeah.
And as a leader, it just the effects are amplified exponentially. To be completely honest, it's amazing to see the different perspective, and also gives you a different perspective on life because I see these kids and they're opening up to me, and I understand.
Yeah.
My retreat was all about me opening up to my leaders in my group and learning from them, but also the main point was for me to open up.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity while leading to just learn from my retreats. And I give my talk, I participate in small group discussions, I offer them advice, but really the main point of the experience for me was to learn from them, to hear their stories.
Yeah. Did he do a good talk?
Oh, it's coming up.
Oh, it's coming up.
I have.
You're gonna ace it, brother.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Thank you.
What difference has Kairos made at LaSalle? You know, maybe over the years, but throughout a specific year as the seniors make the retreat.
Yeah, I think it's a very transformative experience, I think, for a young man. And LaSalle, you know, we're built on brotherhood and respect, and it's something that they see all the time, but I think it just really solidifies during their senior year. You know, they know this is their last year together, they're going to be going off to college, and they get to spend these days together to build, you know, on those relationships. And it's stressful senior year, especially this time. You know,
Oh,
forget
yeah.
the pandemic, just in general, with college applications and thinking about what they want to do in the future. So they get to stop for these days and reflect on really what's important. And then as their group does it, and then 5 other groups do it, and next thing you know, kind of the whole senior class has made a similar experience.
Yeah, yeah. How many years has LaSalle been doing Kairos?
So LaSalle's first Kairos retreat was in 1997.
97.
Sure.
Wow. And the school makes 5 a year?
6.
6 a year. Oh, that's great. So as the year is coming to an end, you know, for people who don't know, as the year is coming to an end, how does a school get ready for the next year Kairoses?
Sure. Well, we invite juniors to attend the last one, which Cohort was one of them, and we entrust that retreat into their hands the next year.
Mm-hmm. And then there's like a manual that a school follows if it's doing the Kairos retreat?
Yes, so we were very fortunate. We attended for our first Kairos. We sent a group of students and some faculty on St. Joe's Prep's Kairos 37.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So we went on their 37th Kairos retreat, and then to honor them and thank them, we named our first Kairos 37-1.
Oh, mm-hmm.
And, you know, so now all these years later, you know, we're over 150 Kairos retreats.
Yeah. And I think there's 26 or 27 Catholic high schools in the Archdiocese. Yeah, something like that. Do most of the Catholic high schools do Kairos retreats? Like, you know?
I would say most do, or do something very similar.
Yeah. So so even if they're not calling it Kairos, they're doing something very similar.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, I think, like I said, I was involved with Kairos for 8 years, and it really is transformative. You know, it can really make a difference in the life of a college student. So I think it's great for all of you to learn something about the Kairos retreat. Maybe some of your children or your grandchildren have made the retreat, so just encourage them. If they haven't made the retreat, and if their school offers it, really encourage them to make the Kairos retreat. Cohort, thanks for joining us today for our little discussion here. Ace, your talk, you're going to do a great job. Lou, thanks for joining us here as well. Okay, come back during the week and we'll have more videos for everybody to watch. Thanks everyone, God bless.